guys, JUTES here. Welcome back to the channel. Now we're going to be jumping into some more action Total War Attila. I haven't been playing a whole lot of it recently. I apologize for that, but we're going to be jumping into some more games here. Total War Rome 2 just seems to be funner to play. It's got a larger player base that are currently playing it as well. So we've got a 2v2 here. Now I have brought the Tanukhids. They are one of the funner factions to play in Total War Attila at the moment. I got 4 of these Tanukhid ambushes, 3 of these slingers. No, I got 5 of these slingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these Tanukhid pikes with their missile block chance. And I've got a couple of these Marvius charges. Yeah, and Kushite mounted shuttle. Now my teammate here is the Eastern Roman Empire. We are playing on Carthago maps. Some of these maps are pretty intense in terms of, you know, being awkward and fighting uphill and that kind of thing. But this one looks okay, actually. It's not too bad. So I'm screening up the front with my Desert Hurlers, sorry. And I've got a couple of these Tanukhid pikes, just a long, thin spaghetti line of them. And a couple of these Marvius Chosen in the center. And Sandstorm Lancers and Marvius Bodyguard. On the flanks, I've got 2 of these Kushite mounted shuttle backed up by 2 Tanukhid ambushes. And I've also got 2 more Tanukhid ambushes in the center, ready to pounce. Now my teammate here has brought 3 of these Fundatores, 3 Manuelatoi, good pike unit. He's got a Sagittarii, 1 Ballistarii, 2 Levies Armaturae, and some of these Roman units are fucking impossible to pronounce. Cataphractari on this, looks like he's got 1 Cataphractari and 3 Clibinari, backed up by 3 Heterea guards and 1 Numeroi over there. He's got 1 more Clibinari back here, and of course his Come general. Good build, very strong in terms of skirmishing. He's got a lot of options that he can throw against the enemy here, and he's also got this screen of pikes. So the enemy's going to have to think twice about rushing straight on. It's the same situation with me. So they're going to have to maybe go around the edges or figure out a different way. And in the meantime, we have plenty of time to take some shots at the enemy as they try and make their way around. Now, what I was thinking is saving these shot cav for late game. I wanted to jump into the enemy cav, hold them down with these Kushite mounted shuttle and then send in my Tanukhid ambushes to help butcher the enemy cav. That's my thinking. We'll see how that plays out as the battle goes on. Now I think actually no, he didn't. So I'm facing up against the Saxons here. They've got a couple of these Saxon Lancers, all 4 of them. Heroic Cav on this flank, and he's also backing up with some Nordic Axe Warriors. 2 of them. He's got some Hearthguard. 2, 3, 4. 4 of them making up his Sword Corps. And he's got a couple more of these Nordic Axe Warriors up on this flank over there. As for his skirmishing contingent, he's got 4 of these Nordic Hurlers, and his general is a Nordic Raid Leader. So pretty strong core there. He is going to have to be careful of, you know, getting stuck in extended melee with my units. So we'll see how that plays out. The JUTES player here has got himself
the enemy engages our ally.
Quite an interesting build. Now this is extremely dangerous. This core, he's got swords, a couple of herdmen. They are totally open to a frontal YOLO here. So if you had a proper charge with a good shot cav unit, you know, they could go straight into the herdmen and carry on all the way through to the Nordic Hurlers and just destroy, you know, 6 units in one go. So that a bit of a risky build there, but fortunately for him, the Roman player doesn't bank on this kind of engagement. So it looks like we've got ourselves a skirmishing battle happening at the moment. I've lent my some of my desert hurlers over here to just fire on these. I think I was aiming for these Nordic hurlers. The Jute player also has 2 Nordic horse lords paired up with a Viking Raider Cav on this side, and I think he's got the same thing over on that side. Does he's got a couple of these Royal Huskars, extremely excellent units. These guys. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunities to use them, but if you get them into an engagement, because they do carry the double-handed Dane axe, they can absolutely butcher most units that you come up against. So excellent units. We'll see if we can get some battles with them in the future. And his general is a Nordic warlord. So it looks like the Roman player is content to just to give away his Funditores. Very, very cheap slingers there, and these Nordic hurler units are, if anything, just wasting their ammo on them. They should really be focusing on the pikes here, because there isn't really anything else that they have to deal with them. At this point, I'm just kind of facing off with my opponent over on this side. It looks like he's going to be forming up, trying to close the gap and create one big line. So we do have, I mean, it's hard to know, because I feel like we do have the cavalry advantage, at least on my side anyway. Over here it's a little bit different, because he's got 6 cav max. So these Nordic horse load, excellent units. We'll just check out their stats really quickly. 249 health. They do have a precursor, and paired up with these Viking Raider Cav, you've got a pretty hefty horse contingent over there. Melee damage and extended melee 32. Half decent charge bonuses on both those units. So it looks like we're about to see an engagement here on my side as well. My slingers I put them into loose formation so that they're able to absorb a lot of fire from these enemy skirmishers. He is pouring. I don't think he's concentrating fire just yet. No, neither of us are actually. So that's probably not a good idea on my part.
The enemy has found our concealed units.
So at this point, I was like, man, his skirmishers are getting way out of line. So I'm going to send in my Marvius Chosen. Now you're about to see some hurlers get absolutely trounced here across the line. I stopped fire at will on a couple of my units, and I was able to get another unit of Marvius Chosen in. It didn't really cost me anything. I mean, I'm getting this charge, I'm silencing a couple of slingers units, but I'm able to get away reasonably unscathed. Oh, this must be, actually I took 10 losses over there, so that must have been from those slingers. I see his heroic cav coming in, so I'm going to have to hightail it out of there. He actually does manage to catch me with his Saxon Lancers there, so not so good micro on my part. I'm hiding behind my pikes at this point. I'm going to have to pull back my slingers as well. I've formed a surround, and I'm getting ready to engage his cavalry contingent on this side. I've pretty much destroyed his skirmishing capabilities at this point. So what I've done here is put my units into diamond. Now this, let me just pause it for a second. This actually gives me quite a big advantage on the battlefield, especially against cavalry like Saxon Lancers. Now, it's all about surface area. So if you've got a unit of Saxon Lancers coming at you in square, this area here at the front of the unit is their kind of like their capability of getting any hits on my unit. So if I put my unit into diamond formation, the only part of my unit that they can attack at that point is this small area here. Whereas if I'm in square or in normal formation, you know, there's a whole massive amount of cavalry that the enemy cav can hit when they do make contact. So it's kind of like a cheeky way of getting into combat without taking too many losses. Like you can see here, I actually didn't take too many losses. I took only 4 on that unit, only 15 on this unit, but they are taking a lot of shots from those slingers over there. And at this point, I'm going to chuck my Tanukhid ambushes in here. So this is, I feel like this is a very well executed attack on my part. If you don't mind me sucking my own dick for a bit there. So it looks like he's going to get his axe warriors in. It looks like they haven't really got proper charge orders, so it's going to take them a while to get in here. He is throwing his Saxon Lancers in. though he's just going to clump them onto my Kushite mounted Shotalai. And at this point, I was able to rout his Oops. I was able to rout his horse units anyway. And at this point, I'm just gonna pull my Kushite mounted Shotalai out and send in some pikes just so I can screen and push back a couple of these Lancer units. All the while, I'm getting some pretty decent shots off with my slingers. Oh no, yeah, my slingers are over here. I'm gonna pull my Kushite mounted Shotalai in and get some rear charges. My Tanukhid ambushes took a full charge from these Nordic Axe Warriors, so they're going to lose out in that kind of engagement. These Tanukhid ambushes only really seem to pay off if they get a proper charge due to their absolutely blistering charge bonus there. So these Tanukhid ambushes in kind of like a bizarre formation there, but we are holding them back with these Tanukhid pikes. I'm going to have to watch out because if he breaks my flank here, he's going to be able to pour it around and get into me properly there. So I'm going to pull my Tanukhid ambushes back. We are getting, I'm getting some pretty good charges with my Mavia's bodyguards into these half guard. They are sword units, so they're not going to hold up too well to frontal YOLO charges. I am getting into his units over here, some of the Jute units as well, and I'm destroying a couple of his skirmishes there with my Tanukhid ambushes. So I'm going to have to get my Tanukhid ambushes into this fight to butcher some of those cav units as quickly as possible. So I do manage to hold down some of his Hearthguard here with my Kushite mounted Shotalai, and I'm going to pull out with the rest of my Kushite mounted Shotalai over here. He's going to go straight into my pike. Oh, hey, no. I'm actually pulling out. So I think I used rapid advance at some point to run away. But yeah, you can see how quickly they destroy my Tanukhid ambushes if they haven't got a charge. So he manages to pull down the last of my Kushite mounted Shotalai on that flank. I do turn around and form up, but it's a little bit too late. They're not in the correct formation, and they're going to pull down my pikes eventually. So it's a little bit of a messy battle. I do get a very good, solid charge onto these units with my Sandstorm Lancers. They're going to do quite well. And then I pour in my Tanukhid ambushes. But he is supporting with a lot of these Axe Warriors. They're going to do quite well on that point. So I was kind of just throwing in my units piecemeal, getting some kills where I can. I know these Tanukhid, these high charge bonus units will only kind of be useful in the charge, and then afterwards, you know, they're not going to be that useful to me. So at this point, I'm pulling back. I've got a lot of ammo left, and it looks like I'm focusing fire on a couple of his Gasethas. He did spend a lot of money upgrading these units, so I don't know how useful that is to him. I'm holding down a couple of his shot cav with my own Sandstorm Lancers there, and I'm going to send in my own Mavia's bodyguard and absolutely bowl over a couple of these units. Brutal charge. These Mavia's bodyguard are absolutely insane. This was not a good idea. Even though I was able to destroy these Axe Warriors and do a fair bit of damage to these cav units, I have to pull out. And pulling out of a cav engagement against enemy cav, especially cav that's a little bit lighter than you, is a very bad idea. So I've taken a lot of damage there. My hurlers are now exposed to the enemy. I'm pushing up with my Tanukhid pikes. He is going to get into my flanks with these Saxon Lancers, so that's no good. I'm going to pull across my Tanukhid ambushes just to you know, what do you call the word? Yeah, so he turns about, and I actually turn around and get a pretty good charge into his units without any counter charge. He does have these Kiro Cav ready in the ranks. I just throw my Tanukhid my hurlers in because they are out of ammo at this point. And I've got a couple of these pikes left, so luckily I didn't do so well on my side. I'm kind of falling apart, but my teammates done an excellent job of mopping up the enemy Jude army. And we are able to pull down a couple of these units, and my general is still alive with 26 men left. I've got a little bit of ammo left on this Desert Hurler. I think I'm going to target this Nordic Axe Warrior. They don't have a shield. A couple of them do, but generally they don't have shields because they are carrying that two-handed axe, so a very bad missile block chance there. My Tanukhid ambushes are going to be able to pull down the rest of these heroic cav, but just to make sure I'm chucking in my general's unit there. I've got my pikes engaging these Nordic Axe Warriors. They are absolutely eating my spears there, just kind of walking into it. not doing too well. They're going to rout. And at this point, this is the kind of thing, if you've got like a unit carrying a double-handed axe, you cannot leave them exposed to archer fire or hurler fire. It's just not going to be cost effective. Like, they're getting absolutely ripped apart. This is not a heaps expensive unit, but they do have the potential to cause quite a lot of damage on the battlefield. So I do have some mobility left on the field with my Marvia's bodyguard. At this point, we're just encircling the rest of these enemy units here. I am going to send in my my desert hurlers into these Nordic hurlers just to tie them down, and at this point it was GG, and our opponents left the game. So great game. Thanks for the games, dudes. These 2v2 battles seem to work out quite well. I really like bringing these Tanukid ambushes, even though my pikes didn't get a whole lot of kills. They were instrumental in locking off a section of the battlefield. My high charge cavalry units doing quite well. These Kushite mounted shuttle not really doing too well. I probably would have been better just to bring like camel units. They would have lasted a little bit longer in the battle. And my hurlers being absolutely instrumental in pulling down a couple of those low armored units. Original Zero doing a very good job with his Jute army. Gem Gaming. It's a really bizarre build that he brought along. If he utilized it a little bit different, it would have been a different story. But yeah, good game from everybody. Dave was a good guy to play alongside. Got a fair few kills with his Hederaea guards, and his Klibinari did quite well as well. Yeah, thanks for the game, dudes. We'll see you guys next time. JUTES signing out.